Moving to Madeira Island with pets comes with challenges, but it's absolutely possible. Today, we're talking with Myla Jones, who brought her dog from the United States, and Jeanette Shaw, that came all the way from the UK with her 3 cats. We helped them find their dream homes, sort out the visa, and now they are ready to share their experience. If you are planning to move to Madeira with your pet, please stay tuned because this video is for you. Hey Myla.
Hi Jessie, good morning.
Good morning. Hey Oliver.
Say hello.
So you came all the way from the United States to Madeira Island.
Yes.
Can you let us know why you chose to come here to Madeira
Well,
in the first place?
Yeah, it started out with really scoping around in preparation for retirement and part of my due diligence. And as I was browsing through all the different properties, I saw one here in Madeira. So I decided out of whim to just come and visit the property and also explore Madeira, what it has to offer. And just fell in love the first time I came. So that's why I'm here. And it reminds me a lot of my childhood, how I grew up. And but really, the island is paradise. So you can't beat that.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
And how long since that trip it took for you to move here?
So I started out in late 2021, actually, late 2021. And because of choosing the right property, that took some time. I did a lot of due diligence prior, obviously, but finally nailed down the right property in 2022, May of 2022. I think April or May of 2022.
Yes.
So yeah, I've been really working on that from then on, and officially moved to Madeira in December of 2024.
So to move here, what kind of preparation it took for you to bring Oliver?
Yeah, that's actually quite a preparation for me. So what I started doing, we started out with an hour flight from Las Vegas to San Francisco, and then a couple of times of that throughout the year. And then the next one is a 4-hour flight from Las Vegas, actually 3.5-hour flight from Las Vegas to Atlanta. So from there, we did that multiple times, and we did it during the day and also at nighttime. And he seemed to be doing okay with it. And from there, we had that travel from San Francisco, direct flight to Lisbon. But instead of coming straight to Madeira, I took a long layover purposely in Lisbon so as not to really put a lot of strain on Oliver.
Yes, it makes sense.
Right.
You were probably both tired from that long trip.
Yeah, he was actually pretty good. He wasn't really, he slept throughout, then he was not needy or anything, and really did well even after after immigration. We went to see the vet in the airport, and from there straight to the hotel near the airport, and only then it was, I think, probably a total of 16 hours before he even had the chance to go to the bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned the vet. What kind of documents was necessary for bringing Oliver from one place to another? Was it necessary a lot of paperwork, taking some vaccines?
Yes. So one of the requirements is obviously there is no gap in between the vaccine, in between the rabies vaccine. And so fortunately for the second round of rabies vaccine with his regular vet, there was a gap of 3 days. So they wind up, even though the rabies shot last year was good for 3 years, it was not invalid, so to speak. So we have to redo all over again and have him vaccinated with rabies shot, just to cover that gap.
Right.
Second is there's a consultation with the vet who has the capability for electronic submission to USDA. And so from my vet to the other vet who is you can just say has the capacity or capability to do electronic submission to USDA, was able to get an appointment there and have him had a consult. And from there, they are the one who technically submitted everything to the USDA.
So this document, the USDA, does it have a validity date?
Yes. So the document, which I receive like 5 days prior to flight, is only good 10 days before departure.
Okay.
So you have to time when you pretty much go to the vet for them to submit for them to perform the electronic submission to USDA.
Okay,
But pretty much it's if you find that vet that can do all the service electronic submission, they're the one who's doing the back end work for you. So it's all most of the time it's just more of waiting for that certificate from USDA.
Right. And did you choose a particular airline to fly, or it was the same to fly in any of the airlines?
Yeah, I chose a different airline to fly because of the baggage requirement.
Okay.
And the extent of how much baggage I can bring to Lisbon. So I actually used TAP Portugal. I know that United is now going to be, starting in May, will be flying directly to Madeira. So I may use them when I go back to the United States to visit in sometime in the summer. We'll find out. But usually United allows pet. But for TAP, it was more the flexibility, and TAP is the only carrier right now that allows animals in cabin. In cabin.
Yeah, Oliver was able to come in cabin because of his weight.
Yes.
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 Okay. Okay, so I know that when you arrived to Lisbon, you had to see the vet in the airport, right?
Yes. It was very easy. Before the arrival, I actually sent all the documents to the vet, the airport vet, but he didn't even look or review the documents. But I have everything ready, and so I presented it to him. And it was very easy. He took him a few minutes to review, put his stamp, and I was good to go.
Yeah. So all the preparation comes from home,
Yes.
from the United States.
Yes.
And here it's just for them to check if everything is okay with Oliver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, just wanted to add, I didn't give any medication to Oliver for him to sleep or anything like that. It
That's
was
great.
just really natural.
So he behaved well?
Very well.
Good,
Very well, 'cause-
Oliver.
Yeah, because he's used to flying. He's used to the commotion in the airport, and he's well traveled, so he's good to go.
How old is he?
He was 2.5 when we traveled here.
So once arriving to Madeira, what are the things that you have to put in place for his care?
So first things first that I did was I contacted a local vet close to where I'm at, and established his medical stuff with the neighborhood vet. Obviously, vaccinations to get him updated, because in every locality or location, geographic location, there's different medical needs, and also from a disease perspective, there are diseases that or vaccinations that are required that are more prevalent in the area. So we have to get that updated right away, and also to get his not just to get his pet passport and everything established. Those are the things that I really need to get him established here in the island.
And how has been life here in Madeira?
Ah, I laugh because Oliver is fully integrated in the island with the community, and
I see he's made some friends already.
yes, he has a lot of friends, and during our walk every day, he goes to the vet just to go get his pet from the vet nurse, and he loves the food here. So because it's technically farm to table type of available vegetables and meat, he in the United States, you actually have to call him, sometimes beg him to come to eat. But here, he is really loving the food. He goes to the kitchen and wait until his food is ready. So you don't even have to really call him. He just comes to the kitchen all the time and eats, and he's gaining weight. So we have to do some exercises every day. As you can see, we're here in the park. We're here in the park every day, every morning, and sometimes in the afternoon. And he's really fully integrated here and loving the area.
Well, he's probably eating more because he knows then you will walk him more.
Yeah, he gets a lot of pets from the community, folks in the community, and he's just enjoying.
And what about you, Myla? How are you managing the life here in Madeira?
Well, so I thought I'm going to go in full semi-retirement or retirement mode, but I have to admit, coming from corporate to doing nothing, I get bored easily. So I've decided to launch leverage my talent in doing interior design. So I have launched my interior design business called Silkstone Design here in Portugal. So,
and is it only here in Madeira Island, or do you also cover the mainland?
I actually cover the mainland. In fact, my first client was in Porto.
Okay.
So
when you say interior designing, what are your services?
So the service offering that we have for this business covers residential and commercial. So it's not just the interior design per se, furnitures and whatnot, but also the real transformation for me is the structure of your home. Like, for example, your kitchen, the design of the kitchen, the backsplash, all the different stones, and also bathrooms, for example, floorings, in addition to all the interior aspect of things. So structural, not per se building it, but it's more of how do you beautify, how do you transform this blank space into, it's really from a house to a real home.
So Myla, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to answer these questions, and I hope you enjoy life here with Oliver.
Anytime, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy it. Thank you as well.
Thank you. Obrigada.
Obrigada.
And today we have Jeanette, who has been with us now nearly 2 years. So Jeanette, I think if you could give us perhaps an introduction to yourself and why Madeira?
Right, as you say, my name's Jeanette, and why Madeira? Well, I first came to Madeira when I was 22 years old, so that's quite a while ago now.
Yeah.
Yes, and I've been coming back for holidays regularly ever since. Once I retired, I started to think about, well, what does my future look like? Where will my future be? And at that point, I was looking after a family member, and as one of my parents. And when my family member passed, I then had the opportunity to think about, well, what does the rest of my life look like? And where do I want that to be? And I was clear always, as a young person, that I would live abroad somewhere, because I had done that a lot during my youth with my parents. I ummed and ahed about where it would be, and in the end I just thought, this is ridiculous, because I've loved Madeira for many, many years. This is where I'm going to go.
Right.
Temperate climate, lovely environment, beautiful island, lovely people, peaceful, tranquil, many, many things to do. So I started my journey, as you know, in earnest. I'd made the decision. I arranged a flight. I arranged somewhere to stay. I came and met yourselves, and the rest is history.
And is there anything that you would do differently than if you do it again today?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm fortunate, but what I would do, knowing what I know now, is make sure that my house is sold, or a property is sold before leaving the UK, if that's possible, because of course there are implications for taxation that people may well need to consider if they're in the same position as me. But I had made the decision to go, and I didn't really want to affect a delay. And fortunate enough, due to a set of circumstances that came about, to be able to do that, and to be able to buy this gorgeous property in an area that I love.
Right. And how have you found it getting involved with the local community? They're really there to accept you and make you feel welcome?
Yes, I think the first thing that I was really clear about is to try and work out who might speak English and who might be go-to people. My neighbour across the way owned the bar at the top of the road and spoke perfect English, having worked in England. I armed myself with translators. I made sure that I went to the local church. I would always say hello to anyone passing, to introduce myself, and met the neighbours passing along the road, made sure that I spoke to the bread delivery man, my next door neighbours, as a way of starting those early introductions. And I haven't had a problem. In fact, I've been very, very welcomed by the community here, and have got involved with community activism to actually improve the circumstances where you can in the village.
Right.
Yes, and that seems to have gone down quite well with my local community.
Right. Well, certainly we found that deciding whether this is a move of your location or whether you're buying a holiday home is very important, because keeping a foot in both camps can be an expensive mistake. Deciding early on, and you were very gutsy about, let's get on with it.
Yes, it has practical difficulties. Just the last couple of weeks, I have security on an app in my house in the UK, and of course, what happens? The app goes down, and then you have to work out, well, does that mean I have to go back to the UK, or can I do this from here? And after a bit of searching, I realised that I can actually make sure that all is working, back up, running, so I don't have any problems from here. It's not difficult. You just have to be resolute and dogged in making the contacts back in the UK, and knowing what is actually possible to allow you to be able to do that if you live here permanently or part of the year, and in the UK part of the year. So as long as you're very clear about that, one battery going down somewhere, you need to have somebody in the UK who can sort that out for you if it's not your own family. And I don't have family in the UK, but I've found a way of dealing with that.
Yeah, talking about your wider family, though, you did bring three cats, wasn't it?
I did indeed. My fur babies, I bought three, two sisters and my mother's rescue cat, who is quite elderly now, but he's also deaf.
Right.
And I wouldn't leave him behind. So yes, they all came with me.
So could you give some guidance to our listeners on how best to prepare, or would you be prepared to do a note for us so that we could help those people?
Of course, I can write down the system that I followed. It may well have changed a wee bit back in the UK since then. So when I made the decision in the February that I was coming, the first thing I went to do was to speak to my vet to find out whether they were qualified to provide the veterinary certificates required for each animal to travel. Most veterinary surgeons will have one qualified person, but if the UK vet that people have doesn't, you need to find out a reciprocal practice who will enable that process to take place. So I then asked, what are the requirements for each cat in the run-up to the eventual flight to Funchal? So I knew I had to get the rabies vaccines done, and there are very specific time frames about when you do that. I knew that I had to have the veterinary certificate, and that's not as simple as you think it is. It's a 30 to 40 page document that the vet has to fill out. So the pets need to have chips, microchips. They need to have been registered with the microchip in the UK before they can travel. They also need to have a full veterinary profile in terms of immunisations. And what I actually did was ask my vet to provide for me the entire medical history of all three cats so that I could keep those, download them, and then share them with any vet that I choose to use on the island.
And the local support you get on the veterinary side, do the cats enjoy the move and adapt well?
Well, we had some kind of issues, but actually the company that I chose and the transportation down to the cattery, which was at that time at Heathrow Airport, worked very well. The exchange of the pets worked very well. They had to check all of the documentation that came from my vet. Before I travelled, I had to make sure that that company and I liaised with the veterinary service here on the island. They were aware when we were coming, the flight that we would be on, and they actually saw all of the documents required for entry into Madeira. So they were all set up ready to know when we were coming, because the vet will come to the airport in Funchal to check the animals to make sure that they've travelled well and to check all of the documentation, and obviously you pay the entry fee for each animal. So that was all set up in place. All then I needed to make sure was that the airline I travelled with, it was BA, British Airways. They were all set up ready to put the animals into the airline, and they had to fly cargo.
Right.
The owner can fly on the same flight. You have to make sure that you have the right size pet carriers and that the pet carriers have double meshing on all of the metal parts. This was specific for British Airways, but it may be for other airlines, to make sure that the animals can't put their paws, their nose out through the bars and become injured. So that all had to be in place, and you have to make sure that you have the right size for the weight and size of your animal, whether it be a cat or a dog or whatever you're travelling with.
Wonderful. So obviously, if you've got the details sorted out, it makes life a lot easier. So I think that I will take you up on the offer, do this checklist for us.
Yes, and I think you need to choose a really reputable company to take your vets to the airport, to the cattery, to make sure they go through the process of cargo, the process of being somebody or being an animal that's going to fly on a plane.
Right, excellent. And the cost of living, how have you found the transition from the UK? It's comfortable, uncomfortable,
Well,
surpluses?
I think it depends what your finances are before you start. So for me, I had a workplace pension and I have a statutory pension, but I live alone. I would say that your statutory pension is easily comfortable to live on. The cost of utilities is very low here. We have glorious weather like this, so you don't really need to have lots of fires on. It might be a bit more expensive perhaps in the summertime if you're using the air conditioning, but I live in an area where you can open the windows and you're cool in the summer. I have a fire, an open log fire, if I wish to use that in the wintertime, but it very rarely is cold enough to have that on more than perhaps a couple of times a year. It's quite nice to have it on at Christmas time to see the twinkly fire,
Right,
but it's not necessary.
good. And socially, you've made friends now? Restored some of those social connections?
Have very good friends locally who live in the village, who live in villages close by. We are out and about 2 or 3 times a week. We go into Funchal for concerts. We have meals out. We go out for coffee. We go for lavada walks. We go out to the local kind of hotspots, Paul de Mar, Jardin de Mar, just to sit by the ocean and have a cold drink. Right. It's wonderful, yes, no problem. And I have friends who I've made since I've been here who live in Funchal and the villages close by to this village. Right. So it's not difficult at all. And I've met people through going to language classes who've become friends, and they're from all over the world.
Right. And I know you imported a car, your favourite car. You didn't want to part with it, so you brought it with you. So that was a smooth transaction as well? Really?
Very good, because as you know, I bought some of my furniture from the UK, so it all came in the same shipping container. I organised that with a company in the UK. That went very, very smoothly. And then when I arrived on the island, the process of matriculation. So you have to go and have your car examined, the certificate of conformity and all the certificates that relate to the car have to be checked by the government agencies here. You have to take the car to the big testing centre in Porto Novo. They make sure that it's safe, the lights the right direction, the fog lights are working, that you don't use the bright headlights that we use in the UK. You always use the dip headlights here. And yeah, I got all the forms sorted. I managed to transfer my UK driving licence very easily by going to the office in Funchal to do that. The Alphandega, the customs people, organised all of the financing relating to matriculation. And of course, you don't pay a huge amount of money to import your car if your car is within the specific parameters set by the government for entry in the UK. So into Madeira from the UK.
Well, we know that you gelled immediately with Jessie, who works, my colleague, who works with us, both cat people. And I think Jessie has enjoyed finding and helping you find the right property to suit you.
Yes, I think Jessie, when I first came, Jessie and I went out on a reconnoitre in the areas that I kind of thought that I might like to live in. and I would say it's a euphemism, but Jessie really got me and really knew what I was looking for. And I think when she saw this property, she knew instantly it's something that I might be interested in. And when I saw it, I knew instantly that that fit would be there. And it is, in reality, the fit is right for the area, for the village, for the peace, for the tranquility. You have a beautiful ocean view. I have everything that I need here for now, but also the house would be future-proofed if my health or my mobility, for example, changed. It's perfect for the cats as well.
Right.
I have two who live in the house, and one, my deaf cat, who lives in an outside building because he doesn't get on with the other two cats.
Right.
It's important to say, John, that of course, as you know, that one of my cats sadly passed away unexpectedly. And it was being able to reach out to Jessie that allowed me to work out how I would deal with pet cremation and what the issues were in relation to that. And that went really, really smoothly. And I will and have shared with my own vet and with the veterinary hospital in Funchal, and will share with you, for anybody considering coming, what they might want to do should the same situation arise for them.
Well, we'd like to thank you for being such a lovely person to help. And I know Jessie loves to get behind your eyes to see what you want, not what the agents that try to sell you stuff here are trying to do. And she's very, very tenacious at doing that. So
Exactly, and I think the negotiations in relation to this house work so smoothly. It was just a seamless transition, really. And, you know, before I knew it, we were all on the plane flying out here. And as you well know, if I meet people in Funchal, as I do when I'm out having lunch or at a concert or having coffee, if they are looking and not knowing where to start, or may have started but it's not working for them, then I usually say, come and see Jessie, go and see John, so that other people have the benefit of your expertise and help to make sure that they can have the same transition that I've had.
Well, as you know, we're a small business and no intention of getting it much bigger. We just enjoy it at the level that we've got today. It's hardly a job, it's fun doing it. So
Yes, and there's no hard sell, you know, and I suppose testament to the fact that we're still in contact with one another and that you're able to reach out afterwards, because it's like a pastoral support service. It's not just that you come, you buy your property and everybody goes their own way. We have that momentum of friendship and camaraderie that is built up that we can continue as and when.
And it's very comforting for us, because most of our inquiries now come by recommendation after doing this for 4 years. And we can hope we'll continue that for as long as possible and add some more services if we can along the way to help people actually become more integrated as soon as possible by holding the hand through whatever process is required.
Yes, and that's really important. It's not difficult to integrate. It's just knowing that you've got the hand holding and feeling mutual trust and respect.
Yeah, well, it's a big move. It's a very important move, and we've got to get it right. We want to get it right first time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you very much for today.
You're very welcome. It's lovely to see you both again.
Great.